Yeah. Shalom again, everybody. You know what I mean? It's another episode. So, what I say? Yeah, man. Real Jamaica TV. Alright, so coming up shortly, you don't know phone thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So, in the next 18 minutes of phone thing, I will start. You know what I mean? I will put a stopwatch up. You know what I mean? And everything. But in the meanwhile, we're going to discuss what go on with Renito Adams and, you know what I mean, the United States, because it's like what I'm hearing or what I know about the situation is that he has been restricted from traveling to the US, and not only him, some other officers who were previously a part of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, you understand, and as well as their family members, or at least Renito Adams family members, you understand. So we're going to touch upon that topic there. See what I go on with that. So what I say? Yeah, man. So, I'm going to stay tuned for the thing forward. You know what I mean? Alright, I'm going to play a little bit of the clip. I know many of you probably not see it yet. I'm going to play it. You know what I mean? Just remember to like, comment, subscribe. See the chat there. You know what I mean? You just mash up the chat because you don't know when you chat, you know, when you correspond with the video. You know what I mean? The algorithm should out the video more. You understand? When you click the like button, likewise, and subscribe, because they must say, yo, alright, the video make people like, comment, and subscribe. So, make we see if other people might do the same. You understand? So, yeah, man, we're going to play that clip here. You know what I mean? I'm going to hear what go on. Adams, basically, a different theme stance. You know what I mean? Me have my opinion on Adams, but I'm going to leave that to probably a later date, but we just have to make uno come to our own conclusion about the matter right now. Uno think the US is, you know what I mean, putting their hands too far, you know what I mean, is it trouble they're trying to make because of our, you know what I mean, relationship with Jamaica have with China. You think this is like, you know what I mean, some petty response, you know what I mean, or is Adam really this great human rights violator, this, you know what I mean, this war, what they call it now, this criminal of war, like them a play him out to be. As I said, I have my own opinion upon that. But in the meanwhile, let us play the tape.
I can get intelligence, even out of the Prime Minister's office. I had intelligence in October that this was going to happen. However, I further got intelligence that they put it off because they thought if they had made the pronouncement at that time, a particular political party in Jamaica may not have won the election. So it was, I know it was coming even before it was, so I wasn't caught off guard. As a matter of fact, I was going to go public with it, but because I didn't have and wasn't very sure.
Adam say, yo, is a thing where him know about from a long time. But the government did have to let it through, because if they had not let it through, a certain political party would have not won the election. That is like saying 2 million things in one sentence. You understand? Just think about that for a second. Alright.
Sure that this would have been a public pronouncement by them at this time. I just kept quiet and not having full evidence, because intelligence, as you know, is not evidence. But the primary charges against me, or the primary charge against me, right, is breach of human rights.
They use the phrase, where is it? They use the phrase gross human rights violations.
Okay.
Which you would have seen, right?
As you have said to your people, we went before the...
What do you think? When you think Adam is a human right violator, knowing him history and how him address the crime problem in the past?
Highest court of the land, the Supreme Court in Jamaica, tried by the Chief Justice and 12 jurors. The case was investigated by Scotland Yard, according to them. One of the best in the world, cannot be corrupt. We were not able to infiltrate them, to instigate any form of miscarriage of justice as it relates to investigating. But I just want to generally say to the Jamaican people, and they know the phrase, a drowning man catcheth at the straw to save his life at the time of death.
So what is that analogy related to?
Let me finish, please. A dying mule kicketh the hottest at the time of his death. History has shown that a dying empire becomes more brutal and sophisticated in its injustices over the world at its sure demise. Question again?
So Adams basically say, yo, the US is a dying empire. You know what I mean? He used the analogy, a drowning man catch it at a straw. So US is the drowning man and him at the straw where they try catch it. You understand? So, you know what I mean? When you think the US is a dying empire, boy, may I tell you.
You're saying that to say what?
I'm going to tell you that I make the observation now, and then you can ask me anything after that.
I know, but
Anything you want to ask.
we're going to run out of time by the time you don't tell me about dying empires.
Back another day. Who was it that killed thousands of people in Vietnam? I'm going to do it quick. Who was it that killed innocent people in Korea in the 50s, Iraq?
Okay, I'm going to stop you here. I'm going to stop you because what I understand you to be doing is looking through the arc of history and looking at... No, man, hold on.
I'm asking you to say who...
Him have a point though, you know, the US is no angel, you know, you see it? A whole heap of arms house them go on with, you know. But what do you think about Adam, you know what I mean? Is this a case of the pot calling the kettle black? Or if I saw the phrase go, what do you think? And use up the chat, man.
Who has committed human rights breaches?
No, man, we're not doing a world affairs debate here.
We'll stop the interview right away.
No, man, we're not doing a world affairs interview discussion. Hear me, Mr. Adams. Hear me, Mr. Adams. It is, I think there have been many...
Miss, just give me a chance to know. Who was it that killed the Iranian general in this?
No, but you're taking us away from the point. What you're doing...
The point who killed,
what you are doing...
Who is breaching human rights?
What you are doing is saying the United States is doing X. What you are doing is saying the United States is doing X and Y and Z. And you may very well be correct. You may be very well correct in relation to the...
You're saying about me to semi-kill people?
Yeah, but let's talk about that.
Then that's what I'm talking about.
No, man, you talk about Korea and Vietnam and all kind of things.
Yes, and I will continue, and you can hang it up when you're ready.
No, man, I'm not hang up on you. And I'm not hanging up on you. I'm just trying to focus you on the particular.
Thousands of people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Mr. Adams.
Them being tried.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams.
Who is it that drove
Mr. Adams.
in the world and killed people?
Mr. Adams.
Without they being tried?
Many people agree with your assessment of the United States. However, what we're talking about right now is the State's Department designation of you.
Let me talk about me. Did I imprison people in Guantanamo Bay for 20
No, you're not talking about you. You're talking about Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
Come, make we make Mr. Adams.
And had them in jail
Mr. Adams.
and didn't charge them?
Mr. Adams. Is your argument Mr. Adams, you've made your point, you know. So having made that point, no, because by the time you finish, we will literally have reached nowhere.
You should know that when you call Renito Adams, I'm not here to back up anybody and protect America. I'm not afraid of them. Who are they?
Nobody's asking you to do that, but what we are doing hold on. No, man, this is not a monologue. This is not a soapbox.
Okay.
All right. So is it that you're... Is it that you are saying you do not believe the United States is in any position to designate you or anybody else based on their history?
You are perfectly right. But I
Okay.
have to make Jamaican people know.
No, man,
who these people are.
you've made your point. So having said that,
Because the press don't educate Jamaican people about history, you know.
having said that, do you?
That's the problem.
Having said that, looking back, and as I said, and as you said, there were acquittals. Everyone charged in connection with the Crawl killings, where everyone was found not guilty. Having said that, though, looking back at the events of May 7, 2003, do you believe there was anything that was done that was incorrect?
Not at all, ma'am. And the Supreme Court has, and the jurors all have come to the conclusion that we were acting within the ambit of the law and the Constitution.
Well, the jurors...
If I am accused of breaching human rights, then obviously there must be evidence. Where is the evidence?
A lot of evidence.
A lot of lunatics in Jamaica, you know, backing up the State Department when they made these derogatory statements against decent citizens over the world.
Have you ever heard the phrase a perverse verdict?
But this sound familiar still, you know, when you check it, you know. You know what I mean? You remember what the man said at the opening in conversation, upon the interview, him say, him know about this for a while, but if it never come out, a certain party wouldn't win the election. This sound like when them that try extradite Dodos. You know what I mean? And them that say, yo, Bruce need for put him up for extradition, and you know what I mean? And Bruce never did want to do it. And what happened? Chaos, you know what I mean? And Tivoli get invaded and people dead. You know what I mean? And what happened? You know what I mean? You see it? So this sound like a similar instance where them did a threaten the government, say, yo, we no need to proclaim this man some kind of human rights violator, or else that this upcoming election we are going to just be a pandemonium in Jamaica and we not going to win the election. You understand? So this sound like a that go on for real, is it? Now defend Adams, now defend no party. Right? I just the US me would have burn out the US right now. You know what I mean? Because them have a habit of dipping them hand in a hour of fear, and them are the biggest violator of black people when they check it as if them are some human rights defender. You get what me I say? But you know what I mean? When you tell me one thing, when you use up the chat.
I hear about all kind of verdict, ma'am. So what point you trying to make?
No, I'm asking you, have you ever heard that particular phrase, perverse verdict?
I know about perverse verdict, ma'am. And I know about jury verdict too.
So,
and I know about double jeopardy, because what they have put me in now is put me in the class where I can claim double jeopardy.
well, no. No, what they're doing has nothing to do with the Jamaican judicial and legal process. So double jeopardy doesn't apply.
So the only laws that count in Jamaica are those of the failing empire, the United States of America.
No, I'm correcting you and saying double jeopardy does not apply. Double jeopardy says that you cannot be charged for the same offense once acquitted.
It's a United International norm where an individual should not be charged for the same offense for which he or she has already been charged and acquitted by a court of law.
But you are not being charged again. Therefore, double jeopardy does not engage. It is possible.
So
it is possible.
So
it
I
is.
am being punished now, my family and I, for something I have not done.
It is possible. In a case in law, a case might go to a court, and the burden be.
Yes, new evidence come up. I have no problem.
Mr. Adams, let me at least finish a sentence now.
No, but you see.
What you mean no? What you mean no?
I'm not what I say. You're not to obstruct me when I'm making a statement too.
I am not obstructing you. I'm correcting you if you're saying that.
in a double jeopardy anywhere over the world.
And I'm saying to you, this is not double jeopardy, which is why I was going on.
I will not be convinced, ma'am. So if you want to move on, you move on.
That's okay. You don't have to be convinced. I'm stating a matter of legal fact. I'm stating a legal fact. You're not obliged to accept it, but it stands as a matter of legal fact nonetheless.
Yeah, but you are not correct.
What do you mean I am not correct?
You can be charged if new evidence come up. You can be charged for the same offense.
Not in Jamaica, sir. Not in Jamaica.
Oh God.
Amendments have been made to the law to that effect in the United Kingdom.
Yes. When you're talking about United Kingdom, I am talking about the world.
Anyway, as I was saying, Mr. Adams, do you accept that there can be a situation where a person is found not guilty in a court because the jury does not feel that the prosecution has met its burden?
Yes.
But concerns remain nevertheless about a sequence of events?
Well, I would never like to live in a world along with you, my lady, where after a court of any land, whether it's in America, England, America, and so on, a few lunatics get together and say, among ourselves, that although the court says that, we within ourselves will say the man or the woman is still culpable. I will not live in a world, Ms. Jackson, with you and those people.
I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying.
The man say, nah, live in a world with you and those people. Basically, the man say, yo, yeah, man, we see what kind of agenda you push. You see it? So you and your people, me not live in a phone world. You understand? Yeah, man. I'm just smart with it, man. But what you think, you know what I mean? When you think Uncle Sam really care about, you know what I mean, people who die in Jamaica, or is this just another stunt that they tend to pull at times when they want to get their what do you call it now? When them want for them interest to be met. You understand? Do you think this is bullying by the US once more? You know what I mean? To get Jamaica to fall under their pressure. Probably because of the close relation that Jamaica has acquired with China in the recent past. You know what I mean? Or because they are planning to do something drastic to Jamaica or force Jamaica to do something. You understand? Tell me how you feel. You understand? Use up the chat. Don't know, it's a community me a try build. You see it? Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Sensible thinking people. You understand? Yeah, man. Remember to go to the isupk.com, YouTube, Facebook. You don't know anything. A whole heap of knowledge, whole heap of, you know what I mean, information, whole heap of advice, whole heap of counseling over this. So you see it? Anything where you can think about. The ISUPK. We solve that. You understand? All right, continuing.
Not simple.
No.
If a court of law you acquit somebody over the world.
Yes, what it means.
Offense.
All right, here we go on. We go straight to phone thing right now. You see it? So we'll pause that little bit.
Your order delivered right to your door.
In primetime news this evening, Jamaica nurse first to get COVID vaccine in the U.S. Tourism stakeholders say tourists should not be blamed for a COVID spike in Westmoreland. And health minister responds to call for burn units.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News, on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Herman Green.
And I'm Janella Precious. Also this evening, the top business stories of the day: sports commentary, E-Prime, and weather. But before the break, the feedback question.
Our feedback question this evening: what are your views on the U.S. decision to impose sanctions on 5 former members of the Crime Management Unit?
You can share comments online, facebook.com/Television Jamaica, and tweet us at Television Jam.
Please stay with us. Primetime News returns right after this break.
News headlines brought to you by
Shop at fontanapharmacy.com and have your order delivered right to your door.
And I can get intelligence, even out of
Saying what? The information.
Credible. What is credible?
Does that raise concerns for you?
No, that she's credible must be able to stand up in a court of law or any really just that was investigated by them, America.
Alright, we soon come back to the news and the commercial done here.
They said they
Yeah,
have
man, we don't want a
information,
copyright
Mr.
strike or nothing like that, you see.
Information is anything. I can have information that my wife is seeing a man tonight. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
They said they have credible information.
Credible. What is credible?
Does that raise concerns for you?
No, that she's credible must be able to stand up in a court of law or any really justifiable tribunal. You can't just come and accuse people and you don't accuse. You apply punishment.
What you
I'm going all over the world now.
all over the world or to the United States, not to the United States?
You know the world is, madam. If I'm going to say China tomorrow, it's likely that a country who is a puppet of the United States, I may have to go through that country, and they don't allow me to land there.
So you're concerned then, if I understand you, as to how this affects your ability to deal with the rest, to conduct your business and to deal with the rest of the world?
Of course, but they're concerned, they can't hurt me. I'm not hurt. I'm just making an explanation and expose the great Satan they are.
You kind of sound hurt, though.
I'm not hurt.
You're just angry.
I'm not angry either.
You're not angry.
You were in the beginning, was trying to obfuscate and to obstruct me and to abrogate what I was trying
No,
to
Mr. Adams, I'm merely conducting an interview and not letting you take over the program. That's all.
Journalists, you must put 100% on the negative side and 100% on the positive side.
All right, I appreciate you tutoring me, but
Yes.
but let's come back to Crawl for a minute here, because you sat there for the weeks that this took. A lot of evidence was in fact put forward before the court, right?
Yes.
As you said,
So-called evidence.
why you say so-called evidence?
Because if there's evidence, we would have been acquitted.
No, that doesn't follow.
So why don't you cut out the court system?
No, man, you're going all over the place. No, you're going all over the place. No, man. All I'm doing is
putting me all over the place?
no, Mr. Adams. All I am doing is connecting the dots. So I am saying evidence.
Let me tell you something. That which is credible must be able to withstand a court of law or any tribunal anywhere over the world.
What do you mean?
Welcome back to Primetime News, and a special welcome once again if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A Jamaican-American nurse was the first person to get the COVID-19 vaccine in the United States of America. Sandra Lindsay got the injection in New York. She's among the high-risk healthcare workers who have been given priority as the U.S. begins its distribution of the vaccine. We have more in this report from Dwayne Anderson.
Sandra Lindsay made history in the United States of America on Monday when she became the first person to take the COVID-19 vaccine in that country. But the moment was shared with Jamaica, as Miss Lindsay is a Jamaican-born American. She migrated to the United States in the 1980s and is now working as a critical care nurse in New York. Immediately after taking the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, the 52-year-old encouraged other persons to get vaccinated when it becomes available.
I would like to thank all the frontline workers, all my colleagues who've been doing a yeoman's job to fight this pandemic all over the world. I am hopeful, I feel hopeful today, relieved. I feel like healing is coming. I hope this marks the beginning to the end of a very painful time in our history. I want to instill public confidence that the vaccine is safe We're in a pandemic, and so we all need to do our parts to put an end to the pandemic and to not give up so soon. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Jamaica has already made a part payment on a COVID-19 vaccine and is expected to start distributing dosages in 2021. But it remains to be seen if, when the time comes, Jamaicans locally will be as receptive to the vaccine as Miss Lindsay was.
It didn't feel any different from taking any other vaccine.
Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.
We go to our primetime news follow-up now. Hotel interests say tourists are not to be blamed for the spike in COVID cases in Westmoreland. They instead point to locals flouting the health protocols as the main cause. Hoteliers and business interests met with Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tofton in the Grill yesterday. Andrew Laidley reports.
Tourism workers are on the front line with visitors as they trickle into the island. With the tourism-reliant parish of Westmoreland now having one of the highest positivity rate of COVID-19 on the island, some argue that these workers have contributed to this community spread. But Richard Wallace, president of the Negril Chamber of Commerce, disagrees.
That's absolutely not true. It has been proven that it's because of non-compliance why we're having this, meaning people are not following the protocols, and that needs to be corrected.
Mr. Wallace actually has another theory of why the parish is seeing these increased COVID-19 numbers.
Remember, we have a lot of Jamaicans that visit from abroad, and they are going out into communities, and some of them are bringing it and they are spreading it. But it can be controlled. All we have to do is follow the protocols. And once we do that, we'll be fine.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tofton says in a bid to curtail the spread of the virus in the parish, the ministry may be forced to take more stringent measures to ensure compliance.
We want as government not to be draconian in our approach. We want to start with moral suasion to get people to understand why it is important to follow the protocols. Where the numbers are getting out of hand, obviously we have to employ additional measures, and that could include greater enforcement also, even though we would prefer not to.
With the Christmas holidays approaching, the minister says they hope to employ other measures.
We are now deploying additional communications for the holiday season, the Christmas messaging around celebrating with close friends and family as opposed to engaging in large activities, observing the numbers, wearing the masks and so on. That messaging is going to continue. Our community health aides are out with the Mask Up campaign, and then after that the police will work with us, national security, to try to shut down or enforce the rules in terms of illegal activities.
Andrew Laidley, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Jamaica recorded 82 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The country's tally is now at 11,792. The majority of the cases were in Kingston and St. Andrew, followed by St. Catherine. The death toll remains at 273.
Now, the Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tofton, has admitted to the shortcomings in the public health system in treating burn victims. His response comes following the recent death of 25-year-old Carrie-Ann Collins, who succumbed to her injuries while seeking funding for treatment overseas.
25-year-old Carrie-Ann Collins is not the first burn victim to die locally because of inadequate treatment, and from the look of things, she may not be the last. With the public health system unable to provide the necessary treatment, Carrie-Ann's relatives sought financial help for the over $750,000 cure, but did not acquire it in time. Speaking on Power 106 FM recently, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tofton acknowledged the shortcomings of the local health system.
If the burns are up to a certain point, all hospitals can provide treatment. Beyond that point, normally you may have to go abroad. You will have to go abroad to get advanced treatment.
So why hasn't a burn unit been established? Dr. Tofton did not provide figures, but explained that the cost to set up this advanced level of treatment is too high when weighed against the anticipated sparse usage.
That infrastructure is not, I'm told, used or in demand as often as would possibly justify having an entity set up specifically for that higher level of care. because it will be very expensive. The persons who can provide that care are available and around in the public health system, but it would require dedicated service.
A rough check of our archives shows Kerry-Ann to be the second fire victim death at hospital for this year. However, despite indicating that there's no plan for such a unit anytime soon, Dr. Tufton did not dismiss the idea.
I'm not saying it's something we wouldn't be prepared to look at, but what I'm told is that it is a high level of service that our technical support that would be very, very costly and may work out better providing support for those individuals who need that kind of support to go overseas to access that support.
Kerry-Ann died 2 weeks after a kitchen fire at her home earlier this month. Dr. Tufton says the health ministry was in touch with the family, trying to help with resources to get her the overseas treatment, but she passed before that was finalized.
Still to come this evening, fiery protest in St. Anne after controversial police killing. And in business news, JPCCU announces new financing arrangement. We'll be right back.
Your family, plus...
And I can get intelligence, even out of the Prime Minister's office.
All right, just to avoid copyright strike, when it go to a commercial, I go switch over to the Adam something, is it? So, yeah, man. So, what do you think? You know what I mean? TVJ, I got talk about it in the night or two, you know. The US, them put sanction on Renito Adams. Because them say him violate a lot of human rights in him tenure when him was police officer. You understand? We all know about the Adams crime scene them and all them things. Is it? He was no joke police. Enough cases, in my opinion, you know what I mean? I feel like him overstepping boundary. But does the US have any right to press any kind of accusation against Renito Adams, knowing the amount of human rights violation that the US in general does to people across the world, and especially black people? What do you think?
In October that this was going to happen. However, I further got intelligence that they put it off because they thought if they had made the pronouncement at that time, a particular political party in Jamaica may not have won the election.
So a long time them did do this, you know what I mean? Our government, it seemed like should have been the one, you know what I mean, to bring it to the public, you know what I mean? That stretch out. So the US threatened our government according to Adams. This is allegedly, you understand? According to Adams, the US threatened our government that they won't win the election. So, you know what I mean? So what them would I do? Like, how you prevent somebody from from win an election? Me need to know that. How you prevent? What you go do? You go tell lie upon the person. You go cause uprise. You go cause a coup. What you do to prevent somebody from lose the election? You know, me need to know because it seems like the US have all heap of little schemes and tricks up them sleeve. You know, you see it? Which this look like it's one of them. Them banning Adams from flying, and also him family and some other police, you know, from flying to the US. Come like one of the tricks them with them have up them sleeve. You understand? But listen to Adams.
So it was, I know it was coming even before it was, so I wasn't caught off guard. A matter of fact, I was going to go public with it, but because I didn't have and wasn't very sure that this would have been a public pronouncement by them at this time, I just kept quiet and not having full evidence because intelligence, as you know, is not evidence. But the primary charges against me, or the primary charge against me, right, is breach of human rights.
They use the phrase, where is it? They use the phrase gross human rights violations.
Okay.
Which you would have seen. Which you would have seen, right?
As you have said to your people, we went before the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court in Jamaica, tried by the Chief Justice and 12 jurors. The case was investigated by Scotland Yard.
So in a short while, TVJ gonna have them own report on the matter. So you know what I mean. We get them point of view upon it. But what you think, you know what I mean? This is a live discussion. You can jump in a chat and tell me what you think. Or if you didn't know about the story a long time and you know what I mean, it don't really matter. Or is this some kind of trick by the US for kind of, you know what I mean, bully Jamaica? What do you think?
According to them, one of the best in the world cannot be corrupt. We were not able to.
We are head over back to the news now, you see it?
Chang and the Police Federation say the U.S. State Department's sanctions against 4 members of the now disbanded Crime Management Unit raises questions about how the United States views Jamaica's justice system. It's believed the sanctions are linked to the controversial killing of 4 persons in Crawle, Clarendon in 2003, for which the former CMU members were tried and acquitted. O'Shane Masters has the details.
A police operation in the community of Crawle in Clarendon on May 7, 2003, which left 4 persons dead and many families hurting, even 2 decades after the ordeal. Although the team was acquitted in 2005, the repercussions are still being felt. Last week, the U.S. State Department announced the public designation of Devon Orlando Bernard, Renita de Cordova Adams, Patrick Anthony Coke, Shane St. Aubin Lyons, Lee Ford Gordon, and Roderick Anthony Collier. Their immediate family members are also covered by the designation. Individuals and their immediate family members who are designated publicly or privately are ineligible for entry into the United States. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the designation coming after the local court's dismissal of the case shows a lack of trust in the island's judicial system by the United States.
It's a U.S. decision to do what they wish to do. It, of course, it's a real issue. How do they look at our justice system? The men went to it and were acquitted. But the decision whether to accept an individual in the country or not is still up to the sovereign state. I have an obligation to accept Jamaicans when they are sent to me, no obligation to accept any non-national. And it's the same thing in the United States. So we have to accept the judgment, even if we have doubts about why they do it, or not so much doubts, but we question why after a trial they'll do it this long after.
For Chairman of the Police Federation, Corporal Rowan James, the matter is worrisome. As for those officers who are still serving the JCF, Corporal James says a dialogue will have to be had to decide what will happen to those members.
My committee and I will ensure that we seek to get an update as to what it is that High Command will do, if anything, in respect of these members. As also, we will definitely be calling upon the minister, because we are going to be following and dotting our I's and crossing our T's as it relates to this matter.
Attorney at law Bert Samuels believes that despite information being shared, the decision of a jury should stand.
I don't see how that designation from wherever can stand in the face of an acquittal by a jury, and that's the problem I'm having. So I'm not sure whether those other countries firstly put the designation on and cause families to be affected, and secondly whether it is pursuant to an acquittal that persons are so designated. That would be interesting to see whether the other classifications, the other countries who make that similar classification, do it where persons are in fact acquitted.
Now the Police Federation chairman says his organization will stop at nothing to get its members' names cleared. Corporal James and Mr. Samuels were speaking on Power 106 FM's Morning Agenda on Monday. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
There was pandemonium in Sandaika, St. Anne following the controversial police killing in the community on Sunday. Now, the fiery protests spilled into today as residents demanded justice. Shamela Pullen reports.
A resident of Sandaika is dead and the house of a policeman's partner was set ablaze. This is believed to be in revenge for the fatal shooting of 43-year-old Glester White, a farmer from Alexandria. The incident unfolded a few minutes after 8 Sunday morning after Mr. White got into a water dispute with some residents.
One little girl first come catch water and Craig tell him said no enough kitchen water, and then a bigger woman come back. And I could up in borrow and I thought about say, a parish tank, everybody can and at least no way. After I know in son-in-law come, in time run the song, and quick tank pan tank, and start fire shot. Me think say, I'm not hearing fire shot, and then seeing in turn back way and drop in the water.
The shooting happened in full view of Mr. White's 5-year-old son, who is now traumatized. The family has since moved out of the area.
They don't think it's safe for them to stay because after what happened, the family was upset. I don't know who burned down this house and the car, but yeah, so they don't feel safe to stay anymore.
Hours after the incident, residents set fire to the house of the policeman's girlfriend and his private motor car. The house and car were destroyed. On Monday, people took to the streets demanding justice.
I don't feel the citizens of Jamaica is getting justice from the police force. And that's why it is so hard for a lot of people to really respect the police. When you kill a hard-working man like this for nothing, he man no criminal, he man no gunman, he no threaten you, he no beat up your mother, he no beat up your wife. Wait, come in the yard, come kill him.
The police will maintain the presence, the police should and reassure that investigation will be done, and with our presence, there's no likely to be any further escalation to this incident.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Residents in Redberry, Porous, Manchester are desperately appealing for help this evening as they say their lives have been upended by the construction of the South Coast Highway. From dust, frequent vibration to structural damage of their properties, the residents say they have had enough. Kelisha Williams has their story.
The $12.9 billion project is extending Highway 2000 from Maypen in Clarendon to Williamsfield in Manchester. But as the highway cuts through communities, it has dug up a whole set of problems. Residents in communities like Redberry in Porous, Manchester, said they are choking on dust and other nuisances.
If you look into the drum right now, it's full of pear dirt. The window dirt, you can mark your name on the window. When you go into the house, you can write your name on the furniture. Them.
In this area, we don't have much running water, so we have to catch water. So you know it's tanks and out those things, right? So you know the dust and the water don't mix.
The more we walked through the community, the more problems. This time, structural damage. House 1, 2, 3. Almost all the houses we went to had cracks.
They work every Sunday. They don't work today because people constantly talking about it. When you're there in your house, you are shaking.
Again, residents blame the highway construction.
They came before and took some picture out of the house, and there wasn't that place, you know, there was no crack on it. You know, so it's due to the continuous vibration. And when you look at the door jam, you can see the wood and the concrete, you can see it take time, the continuous vibration is affecting the house.
So imagine if you're a child with online classes.
They are doing online work and they cannot do their work in the day. They have to do it in the night when the time is quiet.
From houses to farms. Redberry is a farming community, so there's no doubt that cutting a highway through the community could impact farmlands.
Look at this ground here, where the guy hardly get nothing from ground. A truck and van and car and everything from Conteco plant. Banana, pine, coffee, name it. Right? And him come yesterday evening, come offer the lady around $20,000 for fall cube. You tell me if $20,000 can build a fall cube.
The National Road Operating and Constructing Company Limited, NROC, is responsible for developing tolled highways in the island. The residents told us they have made several complaints to the company, but
Not no. So we're fed up.
Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
Now, when we contacted the National Road Operating and Constructing Company, NROC, we were told no one was in office to provide a comment. We were asked to leave our contact information and a member of the engineering team would contact us. However, up to news time, we did not receive a response.
Still to come this evening, Jamaica Fire Brigade is reporting an increase in prank calls. And in news overseas, U.S. rolls out COVID vaccinations.
Primetime News brought to you by.
From Home Sweet Home to LED, we've been helping to put a smile on your face. Surgical.
Climate intelligence, even out of the Prime Minister.
No, what you are doing...
Who is breaching human rights?
What you are doing is saying the United States is doing X. What you are doing is saying the United States
due
is
to
doing
the commercial,
X and Y and Z. And you wait...
Due to the commercials, you know what I mean, we have to just switch over to this story. So, Primetime News basically covered the story a while ago. You know what I mean, Horace Chang said that he don't know why this is coming now when they had prior knowledge to it from a long while. So, it seems like the US is trying to do some kind of underhanded, you understand, thing against Jamaica. You know what I mean? What do you think? You understand? This seems like the Dodos thing to me, you know. This remind me of the Dodos situation.
May very well be correct.
As soon as the news come back, we go over back to it, isn't it?
You may be very well correct in relation to the...
Saying about me to semi-kill people.
Yeah, but let's talk about that.
Then that's what I'm talking about.
No, man, you talk about Korea and Vietnam and all kind of things.
Yes, and I will continue, and you can hang it up when you're ready.
No, man, I'm not hang up on you. And I'm not hanging up on you. I'm just trying to focus you on the particular.
Thousands of people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Mr. Adams.
Them being tried.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams.
Who is it that drove
Mr. Adams.
in the world and killed people?
Mr. Adams.
Without they being tried?
Many people agree with your assessment of the United States. However, what we're talking about right now is the States Department designation of you.
Let me talk about me. Did I imprison people in Guantanamo Bay for 20
No, you're not talking about you. You're talking about Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
Come, make we make Mr. Adams.
And had them in jail
Mr. Adams.
and didn't charge them?
Mr. Adams. Is your argument Mr. Adams, you've made your point, you know. So having made that point, no, because by the time you finish, we will literally have reached nowhere.
You should know that when you call Renito Adams, I'm not here to back up anybody and protect America.
You should know that when you call Renito Adams, you know what I mean, you will get a whole heap of argument. So, I don't understand how you try to lock off the man. The man going to talk in mind. You understand?
I'm not afraid of them. Who are they?
Nobody's asking you to do that. But what we are doing is hold on. No, man, this is not a monologue. This is not a soapbox. Okay. All right. So is it that you're... Is it that you are saying you do not believe the United States is in any position to designate you or anybody else based on their history?
You are perfectly right. But okay. I have to make Jamaican people know.
No, man, you've made your point. So having said that,
the press don't educate Jamaican people about history, you know.
Having said that, looking back, and as we...
The man said the press don't educate Jamaicans about history. Probably more say the press has thwarted history over the years and have guided the public in a misguided direction. Maybe that him want to say, no? You know what I mean? Maybe that him want to say.
As I said and as you said, there were acquittals, everyone charged in connection with the Crawl killings where everyone was found not guilty.
All right, we'll head over back to the news now, isn't it?
Welcome back, continuing the news. The Jamaica Fire Brigade says it's seeing an increase in the number of prank calls to its stations. Public Relations Officer, Assistant Commissioner Emilio Ebanks, made the revelation in St. Elizabeth recently. Shamela Pullen reports.
The Jamaica Fire Brigade says prank calls are disruptive and are increasing in frequency in the last few years. According to figures supplied by the brigade, there were 93 prank calls in 2017. In 2018, there were 108, and since then, the figures have been climbing.
If you would call the fire truck and you send the truck out on a prank call, that unit is now taken up, and the fact that somebody who might very well be in need of assistance is calling during that time, that unit will no longer be available because it's out on another call that you gave as a prank call.
Mr. Ebanks is urging persons to stop as it consumes the limited resources the brigade has to carry out its duties effectively.
If we find out, I think that's the most difficult part of it, who these persons are, then those persons can be prosecuted. But the difficulty is finding these individuals. So as it is now, what we want to do is use gentle persuasion to point out the eventualities that can come as a result of these prank calls.
Meanwhile, as we approach the dry season, Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, says he's anticipating a lot of bushfires next year.
It is our estimation that there will be more fires next year because there are a lot more growth taking place as it relates to the grass. And of course, the temptation will be there for farmers to slash and burn. We want to urge them to desist from doing that and to please contact your local fire stations for assistance if you need to burn, so that we can provide you with the appropriate guidance as to how we can go about doing that.
They were speaking at the handing over of a skid unit to the St. Elizabeth Fire Brigade recently. This piece of equipment will be used to help in putting out bushfires in areas where it would be difficult for fire trucks to reach. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
This week's edition of A Ray of Hope tells the story of a high school dropout who has defied the odds. The details from Sasha Lee Hamilton.
A Ray of Hope brought to you by
At Courts, we've got more ways for you to shop and pay. Shopping just got easier. Only at Courts. Conditions apply.
Sharnette Fowler is a 45-year-old who is living proof you are never too old to learn. The mother of four dropped out of school after she ran away from her childhood home in Montego Bay, St. James, when she was just 15 years old. She recalled leaving Herbert Morrison Technical High School in grade 10 because she yielded to peer pressure.
I was living in Salt Spring with my dad and my stepmom, and peer pressure took me. I left school, I did not graduate, and I went into one of those volatile area, and there I started a rough journey out. That's where the rough part of my life started.
Months later, Fowler became pregnant with the first of her 4 children.
I became more exposed to what is happening on the streets, and that's where I picked up the bad habits.
She then relocated from St. James to Westmoreland in 1995 and was enrolled at the Jamaica Foundation for Lifelong Learning, JFLL, where she sat 4 CSEC subjects. Fowler recalled sometimes crying because it was difficult for her to complete school-based assessments.
The biggest challenge I had with a SBA, it was a math SBA. After I typed about 2,000 words, and you know that me typing, don't know how to type, is spare one word. Everything delete off the computer. The computer shut down. It's like the computer mash up. It wasn't my computer. I don't know what to do. I started to cry.
But her SBAs were not the only barrier she had to overcome.
I am held up to walk with a metal plate and 4 screws. So with that now, I am unable to do certain jobs. I am unable to even sit too long or stand too long. The best position for me is to lie down or rest my back on somewhere that is soft. So that took a turn on my life.
Fowler is encouraging children to stay at home, adding that they should seek help if they are not satisfied with their home experience.
If you don't have to leave your home, and if you have troubles or there's a problem there that you think you cannot manage, seek help. There's help every way out. Seek help, don't give up.
With her newly acquired competencies, Fowler is now better able to assist her 2 young daughters with their schoolwork. She said she intends to boost her academic credentials, sitting more CSEC subjects and pursuing higher education to become a social worker or a psychologist. With a ray of hope I'm Sasha Lee Hamilton.
A Ray of Hope brought to you by
At Courts, we've got more ways for you to shop and pay. Shopping just got easier. Only at Courts. Conditions apply.
Time now for responses to our feedback question. We've been asking, what are your views on the U.S. decision to impose sanctions on 5 former members of the Crime Management Unit? Omar says, while the U.S. is well within its right to restrict whomever it so chooses from entering the country, this move after so many years is very suspicious and concerning. Another comment, it's from Neil Lewis, who says they should release the information they have on these 5 people and stop acting as if they are a law unto themselves regarding other countries' citizens. Again, we're asking, what are your views on the U.S.'s decision to impose sanctions on 5 former members of the Crime Management Unit? You can keep those comments coming. Facebook.com/Television Jamaica and tweet us at Television Jam. The Business Day and news from overseas are after the break. Please stay with us.
One person answer to the feedback question was, it seemed a bit suspicious. You know what I mean? That person was really observing. Or that person was a real observant person. Alright, we'll continue with the tape.
Alright. So
yeah, we kind of go to a break when the commercial come in. We don't want a copyright strike here. Yeah, man, we are trying to build the platform, so we don't want nothing pan way, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Is it that you're is it that you are saying you do not believe the United States is in any position to designate you or anybody else based on their history?
You are perfectly right. But
okay.
I have to make Jamaican people know.
No, man, you've made your point. So having said that,
The press don't educate Jamaican people about history, you know.
Having said that, having said that, looking back, and as I said and as you said, there were acquittals, everyone charged in connection with the Crawl killings, where everyone was found not guilty. Having said that, though, looking back at the events of May 7, 2003, do you believe there was anything that was done that was incorrect?
Not at all, ma'am. And the Supreme Court has, and the jurors all have come to the conclusion that we were acting within the ambit of the law and the Constitution.
Well, the jurors...
If I am accused of breaching human rights, then obviously there must be evidence. Where is the evidence?
A lot of evidence.
A lot of lunatics in Jamaica, you know, backing up the State Department when they made these derogatory statements against decent citizens over the world.
Have you ever heard the phrase a perverse verdict?
I hear about all kind of verdict, ma'am. So what point are you trying to make?
No, I'm asking you, have you ever heard that particular phrase, perverse verdict?
I know about perverse verdict, ma'am. And I know about jury verdict, too.
So,
and I know about double jeopardy, because what they have put me in now is put me in the class where I can claim double jeopardy.
Well, no. No, what they're doing has nothing to do with the Jamaican judicial and legal process. So double jeopardy doesn't apply.
So the only laws that count in Jamaica are those of the failing empire.
All right, we'll go over back to the news, isn't it?
Months. That is, every 90 days you will get a cash flow. So it's very good for persons who are retired, persons who need a constant cash flow. So over the year, you would be getting 4 cash flows.
The Senate has passed the Shipping Amendment Act. Under the new legislation, a wider definition of seafarer has been adopted to cover any person engaged by or on behalf of the owner of a ship, including hospitality workers. Leader of Government Business in the Upper House, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, who piloted the bill, noted that before now, only the crew responsible for navigating vessels were accorded certain rights. Currency trading ended today with the US dollar selling for $144.24. The Canadian dollar sold for $112.48. The pound is going for $191.04, while the euro closed at $177.12. The JC Index lost 2,802 points today, while the Junior Market Index gained 40 points. Among the winners were Mailpac, CAC 2000, G West Corporation, Dolphin Cove, and Dermont Trading. On the losing side, SSL Venture Capital, Fosrich, Margaritaville US dollar shares, Sterling Investments US dollar shares, and Cygnus Credit Investments US dollar shares. And that's the business day. I'm Vashan Brown. Have a good evening.
The Business Day on Mondays, brought to you by.
Learn more about the Guardian Extendable Term Policy, Guardian Life.
Let's Guardian your life.
We go down to news overseas. As you've heard, COVID-19 vaccinations began in the United States today. The 11-month process to create, develop, and approve the vaccine is offering light at the end of the tunnel for what has been a devastating year, with nearly 300,000 U.S. deaths from the virus. The details from the CNN.
It's a remarkable moment, months in the making. A New York ICU nurse. I feel
Tell me one think that the first person to test the vaccine was a US-born Jamaican.
Health has seen more than 100,000 COVID-19 patients.
This is what's going to save us. This is what's going to save the lives. We cannot continue to have 3,000 people die a day. This has to stop. And the only way to stop this is through the vaccination.
Let's do this. The first batch of the vaccine was shipped out from a Pfizer plant in Michigan Sunday, headed for more than 600 sites across all 50 states.
3, 2, 1, vaccinate!
A major turning point in the coronavirus pandemic. As the vaccine deliveries continue, preparations for more vaccinations are underway.
On Monday,
The Primetime News package continues with sports after this break.
Alright, so I want to think that the first person to test out the vaccine was a Jamaican born in the Americas. You understand? In the US, I mean, you see it? What want to think about that? Is it a guinea pig thing? Or was that person wise, or was she paid to do that? Tell me what you think. You think that is a sensible decision by that woman? You make me know.
The United States of America.
No, I'm correcting you and saying double jeopardy does not apply. Double jeopardy says that you cannot be charged for the same offense once acquitted.
United international norm where an individual should not be charged for the same offense for which he or she has already been charged and acquitted by a court of law.
But you are not being charged again. Therefore, double jeopardy does not engage. It is possible.
So
it is possible.
So
it
I
is.
am being punished now, my family and I, for something I have not.
My apologies for the buffering. You know what I mean? The footage is stuck every minute. You know what I mean? I don't know what the problem. I know the net this time, is it? Maybe the thing overload, but I definitely try to fix it next stream, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
The charge for the same offense.
Not in Jamaica, sir. Not in Jamaica.
Oh God.
Amendments have been made to the law to that effect in the United Kingdom.
Yes. When you're talking about United Kingdom, I am talking about the world.
Anyway, as I was saying, Mr. Adams, do you accept though Do you accept that there can be a situation where a person is found not guilty in a court because the jury does not feel that the prosecution has met its burden?
Yes.
But concerns remain nevertheless about a sequence of events.
Well, I would never like to live in a world along with you, my lady, where after a court of any land, whether it's in America, England, America, and so on, a few lunatics get together and say, among ourselves, that although the court says that, we within ourselves go and say, the man or the woman is still culpable. I will not live in a world, Ms. Jackson, with you and those people.
Analyzing the close following 2 race days at Caymanas Park.
Good evening, I'm Jordan Fort and I'll have the details after the break.
TVJ's Christmas season safety tip brought to you by...
And say, although the Supreme Court of the land has acquitted a person, we within ourselves, with our elitism and our imperialism, that the person is still guilty. We feel he's still guilty. So we're going to meet out the punishment that we feel that is required.
So you feel as if you feel that this is the effect of trying you a second time, putting you on trial a second time?
That is it, ma'am. And not only a trial at a time, the presumption, I am not given the presumption of innocence. And no evidence is being put against me, So these people are accusing me of breaching human rights. They are breaching man right now. Also, I'm being accused of something that there's no evidence. It was...
Welcome back now to Primetime Sports Monday. Some cricket to start off. Different test, same result. And renewed calls for consistency from West Indies captain Jason Holder as his side went down by an innings and 12 runs to New Zealand in Wellington on Saturday. Renata Brown reports.
The West Indies have now lost 4 straight tests at the Basin Reserves by an innings, a run stretching from 1999. But it is the first time the Windies have lost both their tests on tour of New Zealand by an innings. For Captain Jason Holder, it was like reliving the first test all over again.
Good in patches. Obviously, I thought our bowlers were outstanding. Just tough that we didn't take our opportunities when it came. It just shows, if you give quality players, 2, 3, 4 hands in one test match, they'll make you pay for it. And then when we batted in the first innings, we just definitely didn't set up the game well. The pitch was a really good pitch, but I was really, really pleased to see the fight in the second innings.
John Campbell's second innings 68 was only able to mask the issues at the top of the order, but may also give him another test.
Well, you never quite know, to be honest. He hasn't gotten the runs that we're looking for, but more or less when you look around the region for test openers, our first-class openers, there are not many to choose from. We had Shane Mosley, who got 100 in the 18 game down the road yesterday, so that was another positive for us. But more or less, we still need guys to be training out runs a little bit more often. But yeah, I just like to give people a fair opportunity, a fair run. Hopefully we can give our players a little bit more support, and not only by selecting them, but putting more programs in place for them to work with some coaches, do a little bit more one-on-one stuff, and just fine-tune the games a little bit better.
The saving grace on the tour, however, may be Shamar Holder and Joshua Da Silva, who both had good debuts.
We always say in our dressing room, you can only survive at test level if you got that heart. You can have the world of ability, you've got to have the world of talent, but if you don't have that grit and that heart, you will never survive at this level. And I saw that definitely, not only from Joshua, but from Shamar as well too.
The next tour for the Windies will be against Bangladesh, which is set for January. Renata Brown for TVJ Sports.
And with international and domestic cricket resuming around the world, TVJ Sports cricket analyst Christopher A. Gale says he's surprised that there haven't been more discussions around the sport returning in Jamaica and the region.
I think I want to see some more proactive measures from the JCA as it relates to what is the blueprint that's going to guide us with the return of local cricket. Of course, they have to pressure the Ministry of Health, pressure the government. As I think cricket is a game that can be played right now.
Gale is also concerned about the silence from Cricket West Indies, especially with the men's team actively involved in international series.
with an active West Indies cricket team, I think you want the local boards. There should be more regional synergy and talk as it relates to how these local boards operate, as it relates to the readiness of cricketers, because there is West Indies who still have to fulfill their obligations.
JCA CEO Courtney Francis recently told TVJ Sports that the 50-over tournament could mark the return of regional competition in the Caribbean early next year. The CPL has been the only cricket played in the region since the onset of COVID-19 in March. Members of the Indian High Commission toured the facilities at GC Foster College recently with the possibility of collaborating for future projects. Indian High Commissioner to Jamaica, Sri Masakui, says that the process is currently in its embryonic stage, but he's looking at possible opportunities.
We're exploring all possibilities of collaboration and cooperation, and I'm actually excited about this area of my work, especially in the field of sports. Now, as you rightly mentioned, that we are a cricketing nation, and Jamaica, of course, West Indies is a cricketing nation. And besides that, the collaboration that we are talking about here is at the institution-to-institution level. It's possible at the government-to-government level also. And in all levels, at the training of coaches and the trainers, exchanges of them in both institutions, both in Jamaica here in this college as well as in India.
Chairman of Infrastructure and Development at GC Foster College, Vishu Tolan, gave details of the possible collaboration.
In terms of infrastructure support, we're looking at possibility of lights for a track, cricketing gears. As you know, India is very, very famous for cricket. So we'll be looking at cricket in terms of what equipments could be supported to the college. And we look at technical assistance, and that will be both ways. Us offering to India, through the college, track and field expertise, and they also offering to us possibly cricket and other areas that they are very, very competent in.
Some racing now, there is still no clear indication as to who the 2020 champion jockey or trainer will be at Caymanas Park. But as Denise Walters reports, the respective leaders, Anthony Thomas and Anthony Nunes, continue to maintain slim advantages after 2 race days at the weekend.
2018 champion jockey Anthony Thomas dominated Sunday's 9-race program with a 3-timer. Starting the day 4 winners in front, following Saturday's program, Thomas restored his lead to 5 wins ahead of Dane Nelson, who won 2 races on the day. Thomas's winners included 4-5 favorite Sparkle Diamond, who captured the non-restricted overnight allowance contest, going 5.5 furlongs.
Along, Prince Charles races just in behind him. Drone Strike has to make ground with Miss in Kiss, but they're into the lane contractor toward the back, and last of all it's Sebastian. They've left the quarter pole, and Sea Swan has now flown into a narrow lead. Sparkle Diamond in between horses, kicking once again. Mr. Universe is on the rail. Chase the Great now weaving a path to find ground. And Universal Boss on the extreme outside, but it's Sparkle Diamond with the lead. Here comes a Chase the Great on the outside. Sparkle Diamond by more than a length. The wire's coming. Sparkle Diamond beats Chase the Great. Universal Boss in a photo with Don Robin Harris. Train may just be 5th.
Returning from a 4-month layup, Sparkle Diamond won by 3/4 lengths in 1 minute 4 4/5.
This afternoon, we know as long as we take him to the wicket and he behaves himself at the gate, it won't be a race.
Meanwhile, Anthony Nunes, who went into Saturday's race meet approximately $2.4 million ahead of Wayne DaCosta in stakes earnings, has extended that to $3.6 million. This has Hoist the Mast led his stablemates, Got a Girl and Calculus in a top 3 finish in the Die Job sprint going 6 furlongs.
3 times lucky just on his inside, but it's Hoist the Mast with a 16th to run, beginning to falter just a little bit. Got a Girl trying to cut into the lead, but Hoist the Mast will make it home and win it easily in the end over Got a Girl. Calculus is third, 3 times lucky is 4th.
Hoist the Mast did the job in 1 minute 12 2 by a margin of 3 3/4 lengths.
Hoist the Mast was really nicely ridden by Omar. I mean, usually she breaks a little slow and she's rushed through, and he broke her. She broke smartly, but Got a Girl got a better break. But Omar relaxed just off of Got a Girl, and showed that she had a different dimension, that she could sit behind horses and actually quicken. So that was nice to see.
Racing continues on Saturday. Denise Walters for TVJ Sports.
All right, thanks, Denise. We head into a break on Primetime Sports Monday. Stay with us. We've got more after this.
Grace Kennedy Money Services, Western Union, 30 years.
In Jamaica, a sovereign nation, with a system older than that of the of the United States, where the judiciary is concerned. We have a judiciary of over 500 years old. America is just 200 or 300 years old. And that is the same judiciary we have that has acquitted me.
So your concern here then is that there is no avenue for you to respond to whatever the allegations are?
No, I am responding. This is what I'm responding at, but I don't think it's any credit, any credence.
I'm sorry, I missed a bit of that. You're responding, but what?
John, among those lauding the move is chairman of the JFF's Women's Committee, Elaine Walker-Brown. Speaking with TVJ Sports on Friday, Walker-Brown disclosed that every parish now has a women's football committee. And though COVID-19 has disrupted local football, Walker-Brown, who is also president of the St. Catherine FA, argued that the recent developments will ensure a stronger return of the league.
We want to ensure that we do everything to sustain the program. We want to give every girl, every walks of life, in every corner, every community who want that opportunity. And we are putting that foundation in place. As I said, we'll be having a women's committee in every parish, and we'll be all working with the same mandate to ensure that we develop together.
But given that fewer fans watch the women's game, we asked Walker-Brown whether the possibility exists that the local league would resume ahead of the men's tournament.
Once you're not earning, it's going to be hard. And I know that corporate is struggling. So I don't think we should look at it that way. I think all of us just wait, let this thing go down, let our business places pick up back, let us get some money in the kitty so we can approach companies. Because women's football, despite we might be small in numbers, we need the resources too to let things happen.
She's anxious too for players aspiring to attend college on scholarship.
I think they are very, very, very frustrated, very frustrated. But as I said, we're going to put programs in place because universities are still looking for our players. So we're going to still ensure in whatever small way we can assist in preparing them for next year, because a few need to go off to school next year and we want to keep them in shape. So we're going to do the little that we can be done and being obedient and follow the protocols.
The Men's Premier League was curtailed in April in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, while the Women's League ended in November of 2019, with the knockout competition ending in January. Karen Madden, TVJ Sports.
Reggae girl Tiffany Cameron has welcomed the move by CONCACAF to introduce a Women's Nations League. The Nations League is expected to provide competitive football to the region on all FIFA dates leading up to 2024. It will also increase the number of matches played for the 2023 World Cup qualifiers. The 29-year-old forward feels CONCACAF's new initiative can help the Reggae girls build chemistry.
I think it's great that CONCACAF will be launching a Women's Nations League. It's safe to say that our team has many talented players, and being able to play games more frequently will build cohesiveness both on and off the field for us. You know, this year has came with many challenges due to the pandemic. One being that our national team's last competitive matches were during the Olympic qualifiers earlier this year. You know, I miss our squad a ton, so it'll be awesome to get back with the team and plan for the future. You know, we've always said the more competitive matches we play, the stronger we will be.
The 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup qualifiers are scheduled to kick off in the second half of 2021. FIFA, they're yet to reveal the slot allocation for CONCACAF for the next Women's World Cup. Reggae boy Leon Bailey and his Bayer Leverkusen side have been drawn to face Swiss club Young Boys in the round of 32 of the UEFA Europa League. The draw, which took place on Monday, will see Bailey's Leverkusen playing away to Young Boys on February 18 and at home on February 25. The winner will progress to the round of 16 of the competition. Now, Leverkusen were eliminated at the quarterfinals of the Europa League last season at the hands of Inter Milan. Bailey has scored 5 goals in the Europa League season so far, which puts him third in the race for the Golden Boot. Meanwhile, last season's beaten finalists, Manchester United, have been drawn to face Spanish club Real Sociedad. Benfica are due to battle Arsenal. Leicester entertain Slavia Prague, while Tottenham Hotspur play Austrian club Wolfsburg. Former national youth player Giovanni Brown has been awarded the League 2 Player of the Month award for November. The 26-year-old forward earned the award after scoring 5 goals in as many games last month for Colchester United. The goals have proved to be pivotal for the club as they have moved up to 6th in the table and sit in one of the 4 playoff positions. Brown was a member of Jamaica's squad at the Under-17 FIFA World Cup in Mexico in 2011. He started in the opening game of the tournament in the 1-0 loss to Japan. And that's going to do it then for Primetime Sports Monday. Stay with us. We recap the top stories after the break.
You know you can stay home and do all your banking. Use Scotia Online, the Scotia app or Telescotia today. It's simple and easy.
The time by Scotiabank is
8:04.
Warm to your eye, Adelroy.
But I'm saying to you, these people have gone to a court of law. And I just give you a historical perspective that is older. Our court system and our justice system is older than the founding of the United States itself.
And
they have acquitted me. Say there is no evidence. And what these lunatics have done is to come together and create in the minds of the world that I have breached human rights. And then I'm being punished for it.
Adams kind of sound like him worried still, is it? In my point of view, I feel like him afraid say, oh, the same thing what happened to Dodos might happen to him. But me no know. Me know what I think.
My family and extended family.
Do you have any idea what triggered this? Because you say you got intelligence that this was coming.
Geopolitics. And let me tell you, don't stop here, you know. Jamaica gonna again, I said 20 years ago, go and pay dearly because of our friendship with China.
Do you think there should be a response from the Jamaican government to this?
There should be a response from the Jamaican government.
Saying what?
That you cannot use one of your citizens in an accusatory way like this without supplying evidence.
Well,
a citizen who has gone through the court system, a case that was investigated by them, America and Canada,
they say,
United Kingdom.
They say they have information, Mr. Adams.
Oh God, information is anything. I can have information that my wife is seeing a man tonight. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
They say they have credible information.
Credible?
Does that raise concerns for you?
No, that which is credible must be able to stand up in a court of law or any really justifiable tribunal. You can't just come and accuse people and you don't accuse. You apply punishment.
What you
I'm going all over the world now.
All over the world or to the United States, not to the United States?
You know the world is, madam. If I'm going to say China tomorrow, it's likely that a country who is a puppet of the United States, I may have to go through that country, and they don't allow me to land there.
So you're concerned then, if I understand you, as to how this affects your ability to deal with the rest, to conduct your business and to deal with the rest of the world?
Of course, but they're concerned, you know, they can't hurt me. I'm not hurt. I'm just making an explanation and expose the great Satan they are.
You kind of sound hurt, though.
I'm not hurt.
You're just angry.
I'm not angry either.
You're not angry.
You were in the beginning was trying to obfuscate and to obstruct me and to abrogate what I was trying
No, Mr. Adams, I'm merely conducting an interview and not letting you take over the program. That's all.
Journalists, you must put 100% on the negative side and 100% on the positive side.
All right, I appreciate you tutoring me, but
Yes.
but let's come back to Crawl for a minute here, because you sat there for the weeks that this took. A lot of evidence was in fact put forward before the court, right?
Yes.
As you said,
So-called evidence.
why you say so-called evidence?
Because if there's evidence, we would have been acquitted.
No, that doesn't follow.
So why don't you cut out the court system, Ms. B?
No, man, you're going all over the place. No, you're going all over the place. No, man. All I'm doing is
putting me all over the place.
no, Mr. Adams. All I am doing is connecting the dots. So I am saying evidence. I am saying.
And let me tell you something. That which is credible must be able to withstand a court of law or any democratic tribunal anywhere over the world.
What do you mean?
Tell me that I'm angry, man. I'm not angry
What
because
do you mean?
you're not listening.
No, man, I'm listening to every word that you're saying. But I'm saying to you,
Don't try to negate it, man.
as an experienced police officer, right? Because you've had years of experience in the force.
Yes.
Right? Jamaica looked up to you. There were some people who believed, a lot of people believe you should have been police commissioner.
Yes.
You know that.
Well,
So-
I hear them say that. Even today, as you look on what you call it.
So
the social media them.
yes.
What they are saying, what they're calling this great empire.
Yes. So as somebody with all that experience, you know that there are sometimes that evidence is presented in court and the jury decides that they're going to acquit. Isn't that true?
Of course, evidence is given in court and the jury, as far as I'm taught, and I have learned and I experienced, they acquit because there's not sufficient evidence at all, or the evidence is not credible.
Sometimes.
And the Constitution say, if a credible case has not been made, then the benefit of the doubt must be given to those that have been accused.
Correct. That if the jury is not, the language we use in Jamaica is sure. Reasonable doubt, listeners would have heard, jurors are told if you don't feel sure, you have to acquit. Right?
Yeah.
But you also have situations, which is why I asked you earlier if you had heard the phrase perverse verdict, which I'm sure you would have as somebody with so much experience in the system. So you do have situations that can exist.
The same thing
You do have situations.
the same thing we call.
You do have situations that can exist where evidence is presented and a jury decides to acquit nonetheless. You've in your years and your experience.
If the evidence is true that I may have killed a man, Miss B, how can the jury acquit me?
What do you mean?
How? If the evidence is true that I killed somebody,
Yes.
and the jury have that evidence and is satisfied that I did kill somebody, how can they acquit me unless you're going to say that jury is corrupt and the court is corrupt and the Chief Justice was corrupt?
No, corruption is not the only reason you get perverse verdicts. A jury may simply decide that business one who wants them and not finding this person guilty.
Well, why do you take this subjective view, my dear? You're going subjective.
I'm taking no view. I'm merely asking you some questions.
Observations, there must be a view.
No, that's not an observation.
Well, I withdraw that, but I'm saying you are going subjectively, no?
So before I run out of time, in relation to the question we asked of the U.S. Department in terms of the inclusion of the family members, and they said that's normal in this kind of situation. Does that strike you as particularly unfair?